next guests are Kate Wilder, Senior Account Manager for Open Influence, and Diana Perlov, Director of Client Success for Open Influence. They're going to chat for a bit and then take some questions. So raise your hand when you've got a question. We'll get a mic to you, and it's all yours. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Matt, wherever. Oh, there you are. And it's so great to be here, and thanks to the entire Adweek team. This is an amazing event.
Thank you for having us.
So for the past few months, I'd be scrolling on Instagram, and what felt like almost every single day would see an ad for Seed Symbiotic. If you don't know what this product is, you're probably not a chick living in New York City. But nonetheless, I bought it. We've all experienced that I need this feeling, or at least let me look into this a little bit further. While the effects of the global pandemic were absolutely devastating, it is undeniably interesting to look at the shifts in consumer behavior during this time. That I need this feeling really took center stage during 2020 when most of us were spending our time online and indoors. For me, it was searching for banana bread recipes and the softest two-piece tie-dye set that I could possibly find.
I do not miss those days.
Me neither. And, you know, as people were forced to adapt, I suddenly felt excited about these new routines and opportunities in front of me. I had a weekly virtual Pilates class. I actually made a TikTok for my best friend for her birthday. So let's just think about that. Like in 2019, you made that for someone's birthday? What? So as we were ramping up on these platforms, the platforms had more data and insights than they really knew what to do with. And in turn, they got smarter. They were finessing that consumer experience. And, you know, those platforms not only were something that we were excited about, but then take it a step further, we now rely on. So we're going to teach you today about our human-to-human approach to creator-driven marketing so that your audience can certainly say, I need this too.
And anyone like me who's been in the industry for over 4 years remembers the days of static-only content from mommy bloggers. But to your point, the pandemic really supercharged the industry and forced a real 180 with regards to how we approach creator marketing. And the headliners over the last year have really been Reels and TikTok. But we wanted to give you a tangible look and provide stats that weren't from an industry article you might have read around the percentage of people who were inspired by creators to make a purchase.
It's 87%, by the way.
Thank you. But we instead wanted to look at interesting trends across thousands of open influence data points around content evolution. So to start, Reels. With regards to formats, Reels actually tripled on our campaigns from 2021 to 2022, and that's just this year to date. TikTok, a platform we've activated on far and few in between at the tail end of 2020. We've actually had a 600% increase in frequency of posts on our programs from last year to this year. And compared to last year, we've actually had average number of creators per program went from 2 to 3, meaning brands are really leaning heavily into ambassadorships. And my personal favorite, the one I really nerd out about, is this last one. Average creator size on Instagram has been steadily decreasing year over year. And you'll see that really stark contrast from 2019 to 2020 when brands really felt the need to lean into niche micro communities to make sure they don't come across as tone deaf. And ever since then, nanos and micros have been on the rise and have been a big part of all of our programs. That said, everything we tell you here is a trend. Please experiment with what works for your brands. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to anything that we say today. So, why invest in creator-driven marketing?
I think I'm going to sit for this one.
Yeah, I might join you in a minute. If you've been on social the last few years, you'll have seen the ecosystem has really evolved to be entirely built around creators. The platforms have creator-driven tools and effects at their fingertips. $1 billion have been allocated to creator funds. Social commerce features all centered around having an enhanced user experience on the platforms. And this curated approach is why influencers are critical of brand strategy across all industries, from legacy finance institutions to fashion retailers who have been on the influencer bandwagon since the very beginning. And stop to consider, these are real people too. Pick their brain, get consumer insights, and use that to make any necessary product improvements that you need. Stop to consider that this also doesn't have to just live on their feeds. Get the usage rights you need in order to create synergy between your digital marketing efforts and your influencer content to maximize your investment.
So now that you've all been convinced to invest in creator-driven marketing, Diana, you can sit. Thanks, Katie. So first thing is first, what do you want to accomplish? Perhaps it's upper funnel, looking at things like awareness, managing your brand's credibility. Maybe it's lower funnel, looking at things like conversion, optimizing for shoppability. Or you're looking for just content creation and assets alone, which can be used across digital platforms as brand assets. All of these will strengthen your marketing through the power of strategic creator partnerships. And what you may not know is that depending on this goal, it will completely define your campaign process from start to finish, and it will certainly define the measurements for success. So now that you've decided on this goal, either I'm a brand new beauty company looking for awareness, or I'm a car company with a sales goal end of quarter. Now you're able to dig deeper into the offering and those who are pursuing it, and we call this the consumer journey. So successful influencer campaigns develop a clear story with sequential messaging that builds awareness, trust, and finally trial by consumers. While the beginning stages of the consumer journey may feel a little less tangible with things like awareness and reach, you just can't learn to run before you walk. For example, if you're an up-and-coming fashion brand, you're ready to drop that season drop, you might want to throw in that catchy promo code to hook those people. But the reality is most of the time your consumers are just not ready to take that leap. And this is why we challenge brands we work with all of the time to answer questions like, is my brand messaging crystal clear? Have you successfully reached the eyeballs of the audience you're trying to attract? And if yes, have you ensured that your audience is truly considering the messages that you're putting out there? Do they save and share? Are they beginning to engage and advocate for your brand? It's easy to look at all of these metrics as a whole and see a few great stats and think, yes, I've hit my KPIs. But we really try to focus on the growth and the development of those metrics over time, because not all metrics are created equal. And once you have successfully figured out where you are on the consumer journey, that's when you will uncover the true indicators of purchasing behavior and can finally hit that cash money. So because consumer attention is so divided, most brands look to a multi-platform touch point approach. So for example, consumers are not going to buy a car after seeing it on one ad. However, let's say you're on TikTok and your favorite celebrity is taking that car for a test drive. And then you go on YouTube, you see that car being spoken about with a subject expert who takes you through the awesome sound system and the new features. And then finally, you see it on Instagram with a super relatable micro who is leading you through a cool shoppable experience. At that point, you're ready to purchase. And we call this a fragmented customer journey. Another journey to consider is single platform. So with quickly developing commerce features, brands are now able to bypass stages of the funnel. This is something we never saw before, and brands are really starting to take note of. And this could lead with something like discovery on Instagram Reels Then it leads you to a shoppable cart experience, and then you get that catchy promo code, all within a single platform. You've basically clumped together the awareness and consideration phase and went straight to purchase, all with one A to B experience. But just remember that regardless of the journey that you are pushing for, this should always be strategically built on your brand, your audience, and your partners. So once you have fully educated yourself on the consumer journey or called up your friends at Open Influence, it's time to bring on the creators. A SaaS tool will absolutely help you to narrow down your search, but what we love to implement is a human-to-human approach, which is very important when choosing the creators who will extend your brand authentically into the world of consumers. So let's break down just a few of the criteria to consider when choosing the right partner. So tiers are certainly more nuanced than just their size and reach. For example, you may have a big macro celebrity who can post about your product. Will they absolutely get your name out there? For sure. But are they going to drive a ton of traffic to your website? Not necessarily. On the other hand, you could lean into, let's say, targeted geo micros. If you're doing some local store pop-ups, will they build conversation and engagement? For sure. But are they going to increase your consumer following dramatically? Probably not. Other key criteria are, of course, gender, age, diversity, verticals, all of the above. Historic performance metrics, a vetting stage we always implement, is very important when you're looking to reach those key benchmarks. And also, the most obvious but also most crucial step is brand safety vetting. At Open Influence, we use a manual approach paired with our proprietary tech to ensure that partners are brand safe.
So the other day, we actually had a client ask us to lean into cottagecore on TikTok. How does that fold into any of those attributes that you just walked us through?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Brands may be fully aware of their buyers' demographics. And while this was once a main requirement to target an audience, we now are seeing idiosyncrasies and subcultures come to the surface. We call this psychographics. So what do I mean by this? You are no longer looking to just fit into an age group or a demo. You're looking for a community, a tribe, a culture where you have certain rhetoric and nuances that you are, commenting about, interacting on. And if a brand is able to uncover those nuances and join into those cultural conversations that are seemingly small indicators, you're actually able to recognize not only who your buyer is, but why they are buying. And if you can uncover those insights, you can then really dig into the purchasing behavior. And this really is right in line with TikTok, which has pretty much unlocked the key to creative self-expression and is pretty much a hotbed for subcultures.
But you don't just want to be on the trendiest platform because everyone tells you to be on TikTok. The platform strategy can be really nuanced depending on your goal. So once you've identified your creator category, you can now hone in on platform strategy. So if you're looking for niche specialty creators, TikTok is absolutely the place for you. I mean, we just worked with a macro creator for a home entertainment campaign who posts exclusively about Blu-ray content. There's just so much fascinating content to discover on TikTok. Similarly, we know, there's a significant presence across all age groups actually now on TikTok. But if you are targeting Gen Z consumers, TikTok is a mandatory part of your strategy. In fact, you should actually consider increasing your investment on the platform. I mean, they're turning to TikTok for things like DIY hacks from CPG brands, guidance from finance creators, inspiration from styling experts. So TikTok is absolutely the place for that generation. And if you're looking to be really playful and experiment with your content, TikTok, absolutely the best playground for being disruptive and entertaining. So, as we all know, TikTok is massively growing in popularity. So if it does make sense for you, definitely consider to increase your investment on the platform. And we all know Instagram has been historically a preferred platform for brand creator partnerships, and the established relationships between brands and creators have actually become part of Instagram's ecosystem, and it's the reason why many users still follow brands to this day. When it comes to social commerce capabilities, Instagram's by far the most advanced. The other platforms are definitely quickly catching up, though. And I'm not going to go through all of these because we need an entire workshop just for all of the platforms, but definitely don't forget about Twitter. This is one that historically has been targeted to the sports, fintech, business communities, but now they have new formats like moments and spaces, which really do appeal to a wider variety of brands. And under new ownership of Elon Musk, this platform could definitely continue to really evolve. He's actually also mentioned shifting to an ad-free model, and if this does happen, sponsored influencer content is your way in the door. Twitter's also great for giveaways and watch parties. So not only are there dozens of platform options to choose from, there's even more formats, and understanding how you're activating, not just where you're activating, is equally important.
It really is. I mean, we have brands come to us all the time and say, all right, I've been tossing and turning over TikTok, Instagram, I'm ready for Instagram. And we always take it that step further to ensure that they're learning all of the benefits of these specific formats, because it's a crucial step as well.
Yep, exactly. And this is a non-exhaustive list up here, but we wanted to cover just a couple of these. Viewership on Instagram stories is actually down, but it's still a great format for younger consumers who are actually really comfortable with Instagram stories. We are seeing those perform well. Static content, always still a great option for brands with prescriptive legal teams or restricted categories like pharma. And of course, we're seeing Instagram prioritize Reels over any other format as they work to compete with TikTok's powerful algorithm.
If you haven't done Reels yet, I think you're at the wrong conference.
Definitely are. TikTok stories, though, that's one that we're actually starting to experiment with. We're not adding this as a contractual obligation to our campaigns just yet. We want to make sure the format proves itself out before asking brands to invest here, but definitely start trying TikTok stories. And then vertical video. Of course, YouTube Shorts, YouTube's newest vertical video format. As it works to compete with other platforms, they need to evolve. Although they've been a historically desktop-first platform, because consumer behavior is shifting, they need to create a mobile-first version, hence YouTube Shorts. Not done talking about vertical video just yet. Idea Pins, that is Pinterest's version of vertical video, where creators can actually share long-lasting ideas. And that works well for behind-the-scenes content, craft, DIY content. They also appear at the top of your home feed, so they're not missable at all. And of course, these are shoppable, as they all are these days. So when it comes to platforms, it's incredibly important to talk about the opportunities and extensions that exist outside of social. Experiential is one big component that we were doing a ton of pre-pandemic. Then, of course, it dropped off in 2020, but slowly and surely, we are back.
And not only are we back, I think we're doing more than ever. And with a background in experiential myself, I'm really excited to see this industry come back to life. There are just so many benefits for brands that get involved.
Absolutely. To start, face-to-face connections. As we began ramping back up the last 9 months, the constant feedback we've heard over and over again is gratitude and over-the-top excitement for just the opportunity to be on site and in person. I mean, even being here today is incredible, and seeing faces, and it's just so different. And allowing audiences to retain this exclusive access and be in the know is an absolute game changer. Also, think about the creative that you get from experiential. I mean, tactics like UGC, real-time polls, live streams. These are all opportunities to show up on social in a new way, especially as we continue to hear about product placement fatigue. Super important that brands and influencers are standing out.
And while everyone is jumping back into those creator extensions, including experiential, a critical piece to consider is timing. For example, you may throw an event that is with tons of creators on site, and let's say that event is on Super Bowl or New Year's Day, and you're ready for them to start posting and, really getting the word out there the day of. Performance-wise, it actually may be to your benefit to have them tease in that event a few days earlier or look to do a recap a few days later. The reason for that is market saturation, so we always like to leave that buffer room. Another thing to consider is really looking into these way in advance. Creators are highly sought after during these moments, and it's really important that you give yourself enough time. Another critical piece to consider is cadence. We look at platforms like TikTok, where single post partnerships are the way to go. For example, think about a beauty influencer on TikTok. They post a video about a mascara. It goes absolutely viral. You're obsessed. You buy the mascara. Great. If that influencer or creator posted about that 2 more times, you'd be like, this feels a little more unnatural and I'm kind of fatigued. On the flip side, Instagram does a really good job of holding off that fatigue due to their different formats. So we always push for ambassadors on Instagram, where you can post 3, 4, 5, even every other month for a year from a single creator about one product or one brand. And when that's the case, consumers are not fatigued. They're actually going through, the journey we talked about, which is consideration, and then ultimately leading to that purchase. And this leads us to arguably the most delicate stage of creator marketing, which is the briefing period. There's a really fine line between being overly prescriptive and not giving enough direction. Brands do struggle with this balance. And if your content is, requiring a ton of reshoots, or it's probably, it's coming out way too ad-like, you probably didn't hit this balance. We always push for brands to allow creators to do what they do best, which is authentically drive the brand message to their audience that they have built. And not to mention, brands are not one size fits all. You may have a campaign where you have multiple briefs just because there's multiple platforms, influencer tiers, aesthetic, and those should all be given the attention they deserve. So now we've outlined pretty much all of the mechanics that lead you up to content creation. And you're probably all thinking, well, that is a ton of effort. My content better be perfect. But here is the kicker. Content created by humans should never be perfect.
Exactly, and authenticity comes in all forms. And these days, highlighting real, raw moments is what resonates. Specifically, we're big fans of behind the scenes or Instagram versus reality content where audiences feel heard and creators have an attainable versus an aspirational feel. That said, don't confuse polish with inauthenticity. It's perfectly possible to have a highly produced asset that resonates as long as, the brand makes space for the creator's voice and tone. So here's 2 examples that show raw versus polished content. And we'll play the raw video first.
Here's a little secret. Many wealthy people don't keep all of their money in their bank. Where do they keep all their money then? They invest their money through a brokerage account so their money can potentially become more money over time. They actually try not to leave that much money in the safety of a bank account because it doesn't keep up with inflation. So what do I do with my paychecks? You want to pay yourself first by using your paycheck.
And this is the polished piece of content.
So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game while you playing with me. You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame.
So again, two very different aesthetics, but both do a really great job of showing authentic product placement. So paid social, this should definitely not be an afterthought, and it absolutely needs to be part of your pre-planning strategy, similar to converting Google Slides into PowerPoint so that there's no weird, funky formatting. But, you know, as Instagram and the other platforms continue to prove they are paid to play, brands are well served to take a hybrid approach where organic posts are boosted. And while paid amplification will always give a post more legs, monetizing within the first 24 to 48 hours after a post has gone live actually creates a residual effect on the post and increases organic reach and performance. And this is a result of the platform's algorithm, which of course uses a ranking system based on views and interactions, therefore rewarding this boosted content. And one of the fears many marketers have had when dabbling in the space has traditionally been measurement. Sure, everyone knows with the right strategy, influencers can do a great job of reaching mass audiences, but the arbitrary ROI has probably held some of you back. And everyone's wanted product tagging for so long, and it's now here to every user in the US. And creators are taking advantage. They can actually link the products within their posts via a platform storefront, creating this immersive full screen experience that allows brands to build their brand story and drive product discovery, all within a native shopping experience without ever leaving social. So not only does that make creator posts so much easier to shop, you can actually get access to insights like views and clicks to the product tag, so you can see, you know, what drives sales. And all platforms have pretty impressive shopping capabilities, but of course they're adding new features every single day that make tracking social commerce so much easier and accessible for brands. So how do you take advantage? Set up your commerce shop if you haven't already in order to have this digital storefront up and running. Keep users on the platform and have them go make purchases directly on Instagram if you have checkout enabled. This actually reduces the friction that users experience when they have to go off social to your brand website and then make that purchase. And this is all available for feed, stories, and live streams for live shopping capabilities. So we're not here to tell you how to spend your money. We'll let the crypto influencers do that. But if you want to get the best value out of your marketing budgets, here's what we recommend. Maximize your investment with campaign strategies that are tailored to your needs. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Consider brand goals, the consumer journey, and mechanics, including psychographics, to make informed creator marketing decisions.
And of course, leverage paid social and social commerce capabilities to drive those lower funnel KPIs.
And just when you thought you've caught up with the trends, there's going to be another trend, there's going to be another feature, format, and then another platform. But don't worry, we're here to help you through it so that your audience can continue to say, I need this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.